Hello, I made this video in the hopes that it would help some people with their spring garden. This was the early part of 2009. Now the first start to a successful garden is to get some good seeds, organic seeds. I bought some from Seeds of Change on the internet, and then I saved some seeds from some organic produce that I got, including some yellow and orange heirloom tomatoes, some crookneck squash, and some zucchini squash. The soil where I live is actually not a bad pH. That's something that you have to check in your own local area to make sure your pH is in the range of the plants that you want to grow. Most plants do okay in about an average neutral pH of 7. I decided to dig out some of the native soil anyway and put in some more organic soil. First I laid the bed with some gypsum and hay, and then I laid down the soil and some organic compost. Usually carrots are sown directly in the soil, but I decided to start them indoors in tiny little pea pots, and with the idea of transplanting them outside later. So the rain had come and left a big mud puddle here. So my first object was to dump a bunch of soil in and flush out the water. But that didn't really go as planned. Instead of the water flowing out, the soil just sort of absorbed it. But either way, I was raising the bed so that it was at least level with the lawn. So just bag after bag of soil, and then a little organic compost. I had used some of this organic compost in my bed already, along with obviously bags and bags of soil. So I added a few more bags of compost, and then I added my own compost that I'd been working on. It wasn't quite done, but I plan on using this bed for a few years, so that will give this compost time to compost more. I took some of the heart of the compost out and put it back in the barrel. Took some big twig that obviously wasn't composted yet, killed a snail, and started raking it into the mix. Added some more soil. Then it was time for some organic non-cow blood meal. I mixed that in the top 3 inches and raked it in. Now, the bed was all set now, except it's time for irrigation. So here's my 75-foot drip hose. The thing was a little harder to work with than I had imagined it would be. I had already run a garden hose to this small tree here, our liquid amber tree. And so I connected the hose to that and worked it around the small tree so it would automatically water that tree as well. My compost consisted mostly of eggshells, flowers, organic vegetables, and peelings of vegetables, and I threw a handful of red worms in there. Worms are good for your garden, the right kind of worms. I also put some straw and dead leaves in there. Near the end of February, I transplanted the carrots outside. The cucumber were coming along under, I was just growing them under 4-foot-long fluorescent lights. It's a pretty good spectrum, actually. Then I put them in the garden outside near the end of March. Of course, this is in Southern California. Everything was pretty well automated. I didn't really have much work to do. Once I had put in the hose on a timer, it watered my garden automatically. The squash began to have blooms on them. The variety of carrots that I decided to grow was a short, stubby variety. If you want to grow those big, long, like 12-inch ones, you have to prepare the vegetable bed 14 inches down. You have to make it nice and loose, otherwise the carrots will grow deformed. The squash really grows well here in the warm weather, and the cucumbers did very well as well, especially in the early part of the summer. The zucchini produced many, many, many zucchinis. And that's a quarter there on the table. That was a huge zucchini there. The cucumbers are absolutely delicious, and I'm definitely going to plant those again this year. Here's a view of the heirloom tomato with a ripe one. There's some cucumbers there with the pepper in the off center to the right. Now in the heat of the summer, it got too hot for some of the pepper plants, especially in the cucumbers, so I erected a little shade for them. If anyone knows a simple, inexpensive way to erect sturdy cover, please leave a comment on the video. Thanks for watching. I hope your next garden is a wonderful success. Take care.